Good morning, it's Javon Para. Welcome to the morning drive. So that last video that I did was on how everything comes from nothing, which is an interesting thought. Talking about how there's a universal field, the Higgs boson particle, the God particle, basically this field that emerges all this stuff that we call reality, that permeates everything, including the thing that we think of as nothing, space, silence. And so it's interesting about space and silence, because if you pay attention to the space, if you pay attention to the silence, it's really the quickest way to be at peace and to find happiness right where you're at. Which is an interesting thought, because most of the time, if you're like me, I pay attention to the stuff in the space, and I pay attention to the noises in the silence. But the reality is that the stuff in the space and the noise in the silence, that's the smallest part. There's way more space and way more silence that it just passes by. We don't even notice it. But if you think of it, a room is mostly space. And in fact, without the space, you couldn't have a room. If it was a block of material, it wouldn't be a room at all. You wouldn't notice it at all because you couldn't see into it. Because it would be a block of space. But yet you look in a room and you see the couch and you see the table and you see whatever that stuff is, and we don't even notice the space. Or you in your area and someone calls your name and you hear your name, but you don't hear the silence, because the silence holds the thing that you're noticing. In that case, your name you hear, or the sound, or someone honking at me because I'm driving too slow right now, or any number of things, right? But here's what happens. It's beautiful if you stop and notice the space that is everywhere that you never notice. And if you stop and notice the silence that holds all sounds, is that in that space of nothingness, it holds the peace that you want, the thing that we're searching for. Like, I got to get that next thing. I got to hear that next confirmation that I'm on the right track. And if I stop enough to just listen to the silence and I notice the space, it's a beautiful thing. Here's what happens. It brings you into this present moment, because space and silence, it's really hard to notice that in the past or in the future, right? Those are present moment things. Space, silence, it's right now. And if it brings you here in this present moment, if you're fully here and not thinking about the future and not thinking about the past, really this present moment is really peaceful. There's nothing else for us to do in this moment than just be here in this moment. And if we can pay attention, a habit of pay attention to the silence, like literally stop. I remember when I would get to work and there would be this hallway, and I would just look down this super long hallway that was filled with space, and I would just notice it wasn't even the air, right? It was the nothingness that filled the whole hallway all the way down. And it was always a really cool experience just to notice the space. There's nothing there. And it would take me out of my frantic thing of all the things I had to do today, and it would make me feel good at that particular moment. But we could do that all through the day, noticing the space that connects everything. Notice the silence, and just take a few moments like that. It's kind of like just taking a deep breath. I mean, that just feels good. You like, it actually releases endorphins and chemicals that make you feel good, but it slows you down. So it's a habit. Take a few moments today. Notice the space. Notice the silence. It feels good for a reason. Let me know how it is.